I tell buyers, come at night, especially if we're seeing it during the day when people are at work, and come on the weekends and just do a drive around and see how that neighborhood feels to you, the sounds, how you feel in that neighborhood. Would you get out and walk the neighborhood? Things like that. So if that's an important lifestyle feature for you,
Mm-hmm.
because you like to walk your dog, but you don't get home till 7 o'clock at night, how do you feel walking your dog in the evenings? So I tell people that that's the best way to get an idea of the neighborhood.
Welcome, everybody, to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk, episode 553. I, of course, am not Tego Venturi, and this is not Tracy Venturi with me. This is Lisa Pinot and Sonia Calvert. And we're all filling in the ship because Tracy and Tego are on a well-earned vacation. And so while the cats are away, the mice are going to play a little bit. But Tego, of course, didn't leave us completely rudderless on the ship. So he left us a great conversation starter, and it's pretty much all going to be focused around what do buyers regret most after they bought a house. I pulled up a few stats just to pay tribute to Tego, the Statomatic, and I know these aren't going to do him complete justice, but we're going to try a little bit. So I pulled up some stats that said 45% of homeowners regret at least one part of their purchase, and their top regret is underestimating maintenance or hidden costs. The other thing that I found is 73% of first-time home buyers say they regret something about their purchase. So, Lisa and Sonia, let's go ahead and talk about when you meet with a buyer who's already been through the process, what are some of the things that they express as their regret?
Sonia, take a stab at it first.
I think actually when you had mentioned about maintenance, I think that's a big part of it, not knowing the how much it's going to cost in terms of maintenance. So I think that's something probably they could do a little bit more research on, maybe like what's a gardener going to cost me? What are the utilities? That's something you could also ask the sellers about, what their utilities have been for in the winter or in the summertime. So I think that's a big one.
Yeah, those are good points.
Yeah.
I know when first meeting with buyer clients, a lot of times it'll be in the office just to get an idea of what they're looking for in a home. And those things change over time as you look at different homes. But one of the main things when I go into a home is just me being quiet and listening to what they're looking at first. Sonia had a good point. If utilities are can be an issue, so if you've got refrigerated air and you've always lived with evaporative cooling, knowing the cost of that, and that's easy information that you can ask your realtor to get from the other agent, which will get that from the sellers. The other thing too is if you're not a handy person, sometimes purchasing a home warranty
Mm-hmm.
will help with some of those things that come out of the blue because you have your inspection's a snapshot in time. So something could happen right after you close on a house and a home warranty will cover a lot of those issues.
Right.
So those are ways of minimizing the costs when you first buy a home, and those are things that you talk about in your buyer consults with your realtor so that you can make better educated decisions before purchasing the house.
Right. And sometimes you could even ask the seller to pay for the home warranty. And
Yes.
sometimes they'll do that as well.
Yeah.
That's a negotiation thing.
Depends on how competitive the how long the house has been on the market,
Right.
how many people are offering on the home. So, but your realtor will advise you on those things.
Exactly.
That's good to know because I think there's definitely a question that we are trying to address on a larger scale, which is what exactly do realtors do? Because there's obviously that misconception, especially among first-time home buyers who have no idea what the process is about what exactly you all do bring to the table. So that's great to know, to hear that type of stuff from directly from your mouths,
Yeah, and
because
one thing, Sam, that I would offer, if you are a first-time home buyer, doing a buyer consult with the realtor, because you want to interview that realtor as much as so you can check on their knowledge and have them walk you through what the steps are from beginning to end so you know what to anticipate during that transaction. And a good realtor will walk you through each of those steps and give you pointers on what to look for and what's going to be important to first-time home buyers to know. More seasoned buyers that have bought before don't need to have as much hand-holding.
Mm-hmm.
But first-time home buyers, that's a very important step not to miss.
well, it's interesting that you say that not that the more seasoned home buyers don't need as much hand holding, but from what I actually see just as a little parallel to that, just to let people know that there's still a need for realtors and for
Oh,
brokers
absolutely.
after the fact, and that's evidenced by a lot of our testimonials are recurring clients, are people that have worked with you guys for several different transactions, and they're still coming back because obviously you all add value to it that is often unseen if you have no idea what you're looking for. So that's great. I'm glad that you guys brought it from that point of view. Just to go off that, I'd actually like to dive a little bit more into some of the things you might have heard from somebody, from a first time buyer or maybe even a seasoned buyer. That have you ever heard stuff like, I wish I'd done more homework on the neighborhood? How does that factor in?
I could even tell you from personal experience
Yeah.
because I just moved here from Bellingham, Washington, a little over a year ago. And I had listened to a friend of mine who said, "Oh, you really want to be on the west side. This is the neighborhood for you, this and that." And so I didn't really take the time to look, even though I hired a real estate agent here, and she was willing to take me around. And I looked at like 3 homes, and I bought the one that I'm in now. But honestly, that neighborhood doesn't work for me. So here I am, like a year and a half in, going to look for a different house in a different neighborhood. So myself as a seasoned home buyer, I even fell into that. So I think it's important to, with first time home buyers or seasoned home buyers, to really know what you're looking for, your lifestyle, what's going to fit your needs, and take the time. Because sometimes it's an emotional thing. Like for me, I walk into the house, oh, this house is for me, but I didn't really think about the neighborhood. So
And that's a great point because even though you might be a seasoned home buyer or a new home first time home buyer, going back to that buyer consult, what is important because as we age, our lifestyle changes, right?
right.
And so what we may have bought first off doesn't fit our needs now that we're in the second piece of that. So those kind of conversations really help the realtor to steer you in the right place. Now, for someone that's out of state, such as yourself, that happened,
Mm-hmm.
we have a great home buyers. It's a guide for out of state buyers.
Relocation.
Real, thank you. I
Right,
couldn't
right.
escape my mind.
Yeah.
See,
That's okay.
but we're on the same page. But anyway, the relocation guide takes all the neighborhoods. It has the price points. It tells you a lot about the neighborhood, and I find that, and then it has a map in there as well, which shows the different areas, and it talks a little bit about lifestyles. So I find that to be very effective with people that are coming from out of state or have not lived in the area or have visited a few times but haven't spent a significant time here.
Right.
And one other thing that to talk to your point about what I hear is sometimes people say, "Oh, I didn't realize it was so busy on the weekend." I tell buyers come at night, especially if
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing it during the day when people are at work, and come on the weekends and just do a drive around and see how that neighborhood feels to you, the sounds, how you feel in that neighborhood. Would you get out and walk the neighborhood? Things like that. So if that's an important lifestyle feature for you,
Mm-hmm.
because you like to walk your dog, but you don't get home till 7 o'clock at night, how do you feel walking your dog in the evenings? So I tell people that that's the best way to get an idea of the neighborhood. And then the other thing too is a lot of times they'll say, "Was this a safe neighborhood?" What I may deem safe and what someone else may deem safe may be two different things. So if you're the different areas that you're in, the counties, you can look up statistics
Right.
on crime for
There's
the different,
websites you can
yes,
go to, yeah.
or
And
schools.
schools. I also tell my buyers the same thing as well. Go if we're there during the day, make sure you drive around at night, weekends, same thing. Yeah.
No, that's pretty brilliant because as many of our viewers might know, another resource that you can do along with our excellent relocation guide is just listen to our show on a weekly basis because Tracy pretty much goes through neighborhood by
She does.
neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
all the great details, and you can learn so much just by listening to Tracy and Tego every week. So, shameless plug there for our podcast, Albuquerque Real Estate Talk, here with you for 553 episodes. And if you want to get a hold of us, Lisa, Sonia, or anybody else here at the Venturi Realty Group, we are at 505-448-8888. You can also check out our website, welcomehomeabq.com. So let's move on a little bit to what buyers might miss in open houses. Now, open houses are designed to impress, perfect furniture, fresh paint, wonderful staging, and that's all great. But if those are the only things that you're admiring when you're walking through an open house, it seems like you're missing quite a bit of big stuff. So what are some of the things you should be looking for outside of that the obvious things that are designed to make you go, ooh.
Well, when I talk to clients, and especially if it's our first time seeing homes, hopefully I've done a little bit of a buyer consult. Well, not hopefully, I've done a buyer consult prior,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got an idea of what their non-negotiables are and what they're looking for in a home. So when we enter the home, I like to just be quiet. There's certain things that I look at when I'm there, and if there's something that I see, I will definitely point it out to them. But I try not to put in my 2 cents with regards to what I think of the house. I wanna see if they were looking for a well-lit house. How do they feel when they walk in? What does the flow of the house feel like to them? Is the kitchen what they were thinking they wanted? Because a lot of times in the photos, some homes show better in person, some homes don't show as well in the photos. So it just depends, and so that's why you're going to look at it. Letting them step outside, are they hearing traffic noise? Is there
Mm-hmm.
too much a dog barking next door that's incessantly barking throughout the whole part of our tour, if that's an issue for them. So those are just things, and that way I get a better idea as we walk through the house of what's really important to them. Because they'll talk out loud and tell you what they like and dislike about the home.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. I also like, and Lisa and I actually went over this with you, and you had given me this advice, and I use it, give me the between 1 and 5. What do you think of the home? But you can't say 3 because that's neither here nor there. And that says a lot as well. Because if it's a 2, it's not for them. But it's a 4 or 5, well, 4, yeah, you're on the right track. 5, yeah, this could be a great home. So I like to do that. And then also you and I discussed about walking into a home and definitely keeping quiet, not putting my 2 cents in because, what I might like in a home, they might not, and vice versa. Also looking for, like you said, like leaks, paint job that might be covering something up, or stucco, like you had mentioned, and pointing those out that it could be an issue, but obviously an inspection, when you move forward and go under contract and go to buy the home, the inspection will really see what's behind it. So,
Yeah, and while they're looking, I'll go look at some of the major mechanical things.
mm-hmm.
So I don't have to stand behind them, especially if there's two of them, so they can talk to each other.
Right.
I'll go and look at the furnace and see what that looks like. Take a look at the hot water heater. Any cracks in the stucco or the fascia for the roof, step back and look at the roof.
Yeah.
AC unit so that if it's an older unit or if you had any concerns. Because we go through inspections with clients all the time. So we know what the inspector's going to be calling out in these certain instances.
Mm-hmm.
And you know when a home is very well cared for the minute you walk in a home. It's
That's
very
true.
obvious.
Yeah.
So those are just some things that I go through that Sonia just mentioned that she goes through as well,
Mm-hmm.
and we look at. But we're really there to get an idea of what they're narrowing down what their dream home is. The other thing too, seeing more than 3 homes, they're going to want to take notes because they all blend together, and the rating comes in really handy with
Yeah,
those notes.
that is true.
That's a great rule of thumb. And actually, just on that same note about checking for flaws, I'm glad that you brought that up because it's one of the questions Tigo wanted me to ask. When a buyer is going through an open house, say they're going through without you,
Mm-hmm.
they're just going on their own, and then they're going to call you later. How much should they be looking for flaws rather than the things they like?
Well, I think they should be doing both. I think the main thing is obviously if the home is a right fit for them.
Yes.
As if it's not, then the other stuff's not going to matter.
Right.
But if we pointed them in the right direction from what they've told us, they'll look at homes that fit their needs. But again, you don't really know until you're in the home. And like you said, things can change. Your priorities might change, or things you thought you wanted are not as important.
But I think Tigo's example in this was pretty funny. It was, don't bring your father-in-law to the open house if he's going to be the one that's going to do the
Right.
inspection.
Nitpick everything. Yeah.
Because that's what I think was what he was getting at, is that you don't want to nitpick yourself out of your perfect house because of this flaw or this flaw, which, as you all would be better to answer, might only be a couple $1,000s, which shouldn't be what keeps you from buying the house.
And that's a great point because what we're looking for is what fits their lifestyle need. The mechanical piece after that is that's what the inspections are. And a realtor will be looking at those things and point those out to you after they know that that's the house. So you say this is the house. Here are some
Mhm.
things that I notice that could be an issue because you do spend money on inspections. So once a buyer pays for those inspections, They're into that house for that amount of money.
Exactly.
So you
Yeah.
would want to point a few of those things out sooner. Like, I can tell you that the cracks on this stucco are going to get called out in an inspection. So yes, we can negotiate that during the repair process. But if you have a lot of things that you're seeing, you'll want to bring that to their attention ahead of time. But we're really looking for them to find the right house that fits their lifestyle.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
from the start, it's really probably 70-30 what you like about the house versus, because obviously if there's some major, if there's a huge hole in the roof, you're not going to pretend like it's not there because you like the
Yeah.
the
And you'll
backyard.
have
But
some clients that I've had some gentlemen that I've walked through homes with, and the wife loves it, and he's looking at all the major mechanical, and those can be deal breakers for them. So you may be having two different conversations with two different people just to satisfy their curiosity and what their concerns may be.
Right.
interesting. So it's a
Yeah.
bit of a juggling act even
Yeah.
within just one set of
Yeah.
clients. Wow.
I actually was with a couple recently and we looked at a house and she loved it and but it had a pool and all sorts of things and he was like, "Well, I this looks like it's going to be expensive. Like maintenance on this is going to be expensive. I need to know how much the utilities are going to cost before we go through." So again, it's two different
Yeah.
conversations and that's when I come in and say, "Okay, let me call the listing broker and let you know what the cost and the maintenance is."
Interesting. So really the due diligence is obviously all throughout the time, but I
Process,
guess
yeah.
throughout the process. But I guess what the question would be for when you're seeing a brand new open house would be how much how much are you as an agent telling them just focus on the things you like versus whether or not there might be a leak or whether or not there might be, because there could be a crack in the driveway when they walk up. You wouldn't necessarily want that to be the defining
If I'm
thing that
telling
turns them
people,
off.
if they're going to go to open houses and I'm not going to be present with them at the open house, usually what I'll tell them, let them know that you're working with a realtor,
Mhm.
because that way they'll allow you to walk through the house without trying to gain your business at that time, and you can focus more on how the house feels to you.
Mhm.
Go in there, does the flow work for you? Do they happen to have seller's disclosures there that you can look at, so you could look through those? Some realtors have those at their open houses, some do not. Is there any additional information that that realtor may have? A lot of times the realtor that's a listing agent is not doing the open house, so the person there may not have all of the detailed information that you need, but it doesn't hurt to ask them and ask them those questions. But really go outside. How does it feel outside? Is the noise level what you want it to be? And just really getting the flow of the house, and then we can get into more details. But you can ask that person for some information and see what you can get from that.
Mhm.
But really, it's really them walking through and getting an idea of the house, and then they could call you and say, you know what, I'd want to go back here and take a look at it with you. I was interested in the home.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting. And it's funny because you guys keep just setting up the next question, which is, should people be bold enough to ask questions of the people who are holding the open house? Where is the line to being curious buyer and being the overbearing nitpicker? Where do you guys feel like that is?
I think I do a lot of open houses, and I'm not always the listing agent, and so I might not have information that the buyers are asking for, but I ask away, ask what you need to ask. Even if you're not working with me, I will still try to get you that information. A lot of times I'll have my laptop with me, and they'll go, "Oh, do you know what the seller's just called, or the year of the home?" Or I usually know that stuff going in because I do my homework beforehand.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I know the year, I know the square footage, I know, the bedrooms, bathrooms, if it's on an acre or so on and so forth. But if they want like a seller's disclosure or anything like that, I'll go ahead and email it to them. Give me your information, I'll go ahead and email it to you, anything you need to know. But yeah, this is a big purchase, probably one of the biggest purchases you're
Biggest
going to make in
asset.
your life,
Yeah.
and biggest asset. Yeah, ask away for sure.
Awesome.
And I want to piggyback on that because she brings up a great point, because she does do a lot of open houses. The other thing too, I was saying how I would send my clients, but let's say a client is not working with an agent. Open houses are the perfect time to interview an agent. So those agents are there because they're trying to gain business. So asking them as much information as you can. Now, they may not have information like utility information, but they should know basic, if they're a good realtor, should
Mhm.
know the basics about the house.
Right.
They should have, like you said, you do your homework. So you
Exactly.
know enough, and when they're in asking that realtor how much business do they do,
Mhm.
are they a full-time realtor? Getting to know them, especially if the personalities click, then
Right.
you want to find out a little bit more about their background and what they do, and that may help you to decide on whether you would want to work with that person.
Yeah.
So, because that's how we get additional businesses, by
Yeah.
being at those open houses.
I've met a lot of buyers that I've worked with through open houses because
You've had a
I
lot.
do so many. I have a lot of buyers that I meet and we just click, and yeah, it's worked really well for me.
Great. So I guess the reason we're asking that is because a lot of people are hesitant to ask questions because they don't want to give the impression maybe that they are as ready. A lot of people don't want to be sold to, I suppose. It's kind of the car dealership.
Right.
You don't want the sales pitch right away. And so I think it's good for you guys to clear up that misconception that it's more about you and what
Mhm.
you want and what you're looking for, and you're under no obligation after asking questions to do anything. That's the whole
Absolutely,
Right.
point
yeah.
of these open
Right.
houses. So
Exactly.
I think a lot of people get that because the only other major purchase most people have done is a car, and when you
Mhm.
walk onto that car dealership,
Yeah.
Right.
And
and
I think
so
being upfront with that person. So if I'm walking onto a car dealership, I tell them, you know what, I'm not ready to buy right now. I
Mhm.
want to look. So I may have some questions for you that I'll answer. And I think that setting that realtor up for that same thing, they can shine at the point you want them to, but you don't, not all people coming into open houses want to be followed around.
right,
Right. And
yeah,
I definitely don't do that.
Now, sometimes we have to because clients have their merchandise in there. So
Mhm.
if we're going by, we have to make sure we know where everybody's at in the house. So that's something that we do have to do
interesting,
Yeah.
as a
yeah.
courtesy to our sellers.
Right.
Well, yeah, and that makes sense. There's a definitely a balance between
Right.
it. So no, that's great to know that ask away, ask your questions because you're there to get more than just the visual of the house. Now, one thing I would just want to ask, and we just need a quick little answer on this, just to wrap up this segment. Say, for example, for me, the most important thing is the kitchen. Now, you know that, or say somebody, most important thing is a yard for their dog. Do you start showing them a house in a different place, or is it always straight through the front door? Here's the living room, here's this, and now we get to the kitchen. Or do you say, let's go to the kitchen right away and see if it's what you like, or let's walk in through the backyard and then come in through the backyard? Like, do you make sure that you're showing them what is most important to them as close to first as possible?
I don't. I always have them let them go in front of me, and whatever their natural flow is, what they're going to go to is what they're going to go to. Some homes have like a natural flow where you walk in and you're going to go to the living room, the kitchen's to the left, and some others are a little bit different. So I just let them take the lead and go where they want to go first.
I do the same. I let them, but one thing I will do when I'm in the house, so as they're walking through, and I'll say, as you can see, this has that big gas stove that you said you wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and it has all the counter space that you need because you like to bake. Just reiterating all the things that they had told me so
Mm-hmm.
that they know that they've been heard and that I've listened to them. Or if it's the backyard, look at this, has the doggy door for the dog,
Right.
and also had it's fenced in. Is this fence high going to be high enough
Mm-hmm.
so that your dog can't get out? So making comments like that as you go through, but letting them get a feel for the flow of the house. But you will be able to key in on some things that you know are important to them based
Mm-hmm.
off of your previous conversation and previous showings.
That's good to know because for me, as somebody who needs a good kitchen, I'm going straight to the kitchen.
Yeah.
So it's good to
Right.
know that
And
you guys
probably a
will
gas
let people
stove,
go.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If it
Not
has a flat
electric.
top, I'm
Yeah.
sold on
Right.
that. And that's I think where the question is coming from is how much do you lead them through the house as opposed to letting them lead themselves,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the first viewings or through an open house. So that's good to know that it's still let them get a feel for the entire house and not just, oh, look, I found the perfect backyard.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the
Don't
perfect
look at
kitchen.
anything
Yeah.
else.
Right. But like with someone like you, who the kitchen's important, we might walk through the door and I would let you know, hey, kitchen's on the left.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And in my case, I would probably plan
Go
my
right to
open
that.
houses based on, okay, I know it has a kitchen that I like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and check that house out because that's And that's also something that we maybe could point out is that if you look at some of these houses ahead of time, especially for us, we have marketing for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually see all the houses ahead of time,
And virtually walk through them.
virtually
Right.
walk through them because we do have 3D tours as well. And so
Right.
if you know that the kitchen is the most important, look at it right away. And if it's not worth it, that's 20 minutes, an hour out of your day if you went and saw it without. So
Right.
awesome. So let's go ahead and we're going to move on to a little segment about tying open houses to local events like Balloon Fiesta. And I got this idea based on the fact that one of the partners that we work with, Talia Axelrod,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
is holding a special shapes rodeo open house early in the morning during the Balloon Fiesta. So that kind of brings us to our next point, which is tying open events into the experiences around the place. So not necessarily just Balloon Fiesta, but sunset. And how do you feel about timing things like open houses? I've seen a lot of luxury houses tend to do their open houses like right around dusk so that you get that magic hour while you're walking around with your champagne and whatnot. So talk to me about how you feel about selling the house based on everything around it.
Well, if you have a specific feature in a house, like if you've got walls of windows that face the sandias, the doing your open house later in the evening when the sun is starting to set is going to show the house at the best light.
Mm-hmm.
No pun intended. But it's going to show the house the way it should be with
Yeah.
some of the features that you're trying to accent. There are sometimes open houses in the more luxury. They'll provide spreads that you can come in and
Yeah.
get appetizers or whatnot, and they're featuring certain things like that. So yeah, it can happen. The other thing too is a lot of times people think that during holidays that doing open houses are not that great of a time, but people actually come into town and
Mm-hmm.
may have been considering moving to the area.
Right.
And so sometimes those are some of your busiest open houses. And if you're definitely like Talia's doing around the special shapes, if you have a landing area and your area is where all the balloons fly over, a lot of people may go to the open house because they're going to be able to see the balloons at that time.
Right.
Right.
I've seen people do open houses where they'll bring out ice cream trucks and park that out front just to entice people to come to the open house. So there's lots of different things you can do to get people into that open house.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes giveaways.
Yeah. Giveaways are always
People
good.
fill out a card
Yeah.
and dump it in there, and then the realtor will, sometimes it's gas cards, it's a breakfast somewhere,
Coffee.
Yes.
That sort of thing.
things like that,
Yeah.
and they'll just pull the name and
Right.
so there's different ways to get people in there, but events can, especially if the house is in that area,
Mm-hmm.
because more
Right.
people will be going to the events and they're like, oh, I see that sign, let's just pull into this open house,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's check it out, I've always loved this area.
Yeah.
Well, and that you never know when that's going to lead to the perfect person saying, you know
Exactly.
what? I didn't know I was
Right.
ready to buy a house, but this is perfect. And
Yeah. Yeah. I do have a lot of people like sometimes they're like, oh, just looking, but then they do find the perfect house. Go, oh, this might work. I do like doing open houses around Balloon Fiesta though. Last year, because it was my first year here, but even if I'm not in a place where you can see the balloons, just the energy of the city is
Yes.
different. You know what I mean? People are like, they're just in a good mood. Like balloons are flying everywhere. You know what I mean? It's just colorful. It's just like a good time of year. I actually have a buyer coming in from Hawaii who's moving here the first weekend of Balloon Fiesta, and I don't think he knows it's Balloon Fiesta. So I got to call him today and let him know.
Yeah.
Go check it out. It's going to be a little bit more crowded, but the energy of the city, and you'll really get a feel for what it's like to be here around that time. So I'm really excited for him to visit. Actually,
Yeah, the weather's nice. It's
Mhm.
crisp in the mornings. You
Yep.
start to see leaves changing.
yeah,
There's just so many. It's the perfect
it
time.
really is.
yeah, no, that's great. And it covers what we were just about to talk about, which is how can we incorporate some of these things like sunsets, festivals, the rail runner whistle to sell the lifestyle and not just the house? Because as it sounds like the city does change when these things are happening. A river of lights in Nob Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
beautiful.
it feels like old time Christmas.
Right.
It's yeah, so it's very interesting to hear some perspective of you all because to me it's always seemed like a great time to do it, but I know a lot of people are hesitant to hold open houses during Balloon Fiesta because they feel like there might not be as much traffic, or they don't like to hold a open house on Super Bowl Sunday. Why not
That's a
have
great time to
Super
do it,
Bowl
too.
party?
You just
Like,
got to
You have
bring
the
some
TV on.
sliders,
Yeah,
sliders,
exactly.
and
Yeah, I
sodas,
mean-
and you're
Have
ready
the
to go.
have the
Yeah.
game on.
Exactly.
Even just on a regular Sunday, or just Sundays throughout now when football's on, just have the game on.
And you tell your sellers, I'm gonna go ahead and put the TV on. That way, people that if someone got dragged out to see an open house, but they're worried about the game, at
Right.
least they can see that on the. There's different ways to accommodate all of those pieces.
Yeah.
well, and very much in a way, it's replicating what a Sunday would be like in the house,
In the
which
house, yeah, exactly.
is a great way to do it,
I was
because
just gonna say that you're sitting in the living room watching the game, and you could really feel like,
I
hey,
could
this could
I
be
could
me.
do this here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we are running pretty long, so I want to get just one quick little wrap up segment. One tip from each of you. Let's end this with something practical. You've got a buyer heading into their first open house this weekend. What's the one tip you'd give them to walk in smarter than 90% of the competition?
Walk in smarter than 90% of the competition. I think just having our buyer from our buyer consult is experiencing the feel of the home. Make sure you walk the perimeter, drive around the neighborhood to see what the other homes in the neighborhood look like. Things that may be important to you, is there a park close by? Because if you like to walk your dog to the park, whatever their lifestyle fits are, is to take a look at the neighborhood versus just the house alone. Would be
Perfect.
mine.
I'm gonna say that exactly same as you, and I would just, how does the home make you feel? Like when you walk in there, because it's a very emotional thing. Obviously, you want to
Yeah.
be practical and you need it to fit your lifestyle, but how does it feel when you walk in? Do you feel like you can live here? You know what I mean? When you look out the window and let's see the Sandias, is that the view you want to look at every day? So yeah, I think it is an emotional thing and it's a feeling, but you also want to be practical. But does it feel like home?
So it sounds like trust your feelings is the biggest thing. Don't nitpick yourself out of the great home that feels right.
Yeah.
And as Tracy says, you buy the home and the neighborhood.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's doing your due diligence on that is huge.
And a lot
So,
of people just walk in and walk out and head to the next destination.
and they don't get a
circle.
feel for
Circle
everything
of it.
else. Yeah.
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 No, that's
Because if amenities are important to you, how far are those from there? If a hospital's important to you, how far is that from where you're located? You can get pretty much anywhere within 30 to 40 minutes based on traffic
Right.
in the city.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you want to have those things that are a quick jaunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing that I would add to that, which you touched on, which is the best thing that you can do when you go to open houses, before you do any of this stuff, have a consultation with
Yes.
a broker, because if am I overstepping when I say to call up and have a consultation from you is free? You
Yeah.
can,
It
It's
doesn't
not-
obligate you to anything.
it doesn't, and
It
so
could be in the office, it could be at a coffee shop, it could be on the phone, it could be on FaceTime. There's so many ways to do it.
yeah,
But
and
it's important.
I hear Tracy all the time saying, yeah, let's have a conversation, because it's, of course, you guys are hoping that it's going to lead to business, but it's also going to help them to just have a conversation with a professional to get them to realize how much they might need a professional.
Because
So,
it's your biggest asset.
Mm-hmm.
So you should make sure you've got
Yep.
the right person
and
working for you on your biggest asset purchase.
Yeah.
that's perfect, because Tigo mentions it all the time. Still, the number one way to build wealth in this country
Yes.
Yes,
is
it
through
is.
real estate. So, all right. So we're going to wrap it up with a fun little announcement. As you may or may not have noticed, right here, we have a beautiful 2025 Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. The official poster was just released, and we've got two of them. One's hanging in our office, and one of them we have right here. And if you've been following us on social media, and that we've been doing this is the second year, we've been doing some really special video packages for the Balloon Fiesta, building it up with great facts about the Balloon Fiesta. Last year, we featured all of the Balloon Fiesta posters that are on our wall. This year, we're doing all of the fun facts from the moving history of Balloon Fiesta, and we want to get everybody in on the fun. So we're giving everybody a chance to win this beautiful poster. It's the second annual Balloon Fiesta poster giveaway from Venturi. Right now on the screen, if you are watching us online, you can scan the QR code and fill out that registration form and register to win this amazing Balloon Fiesta poster. If you're listening to us online, you can head to abq.re/2025balloon. And yeah, it's
It's a
this.
beauty, folks. It's a beauty.
This might actually be. We're going to talk about what our favorite Balloon Fiesta posters are, and I have to say right off the top that this, it might be recency bias, but this might be my favorite poster. So,
Wow.
Lisa, what's your favorite
I
Balloon
still
Fiesta
love the
poster?
one from 1994. It does have the Zia sign and the balloons are coming over the mesa. So I love that shot
Yep.
of the balloons coming over the mesa. But I'll tell you what, this is a close second because
Mm.
it's a nice. I like how they have the road runner that's in the background there behind the Zia sign.
Yeah, the little hidden road runner in
Yes.
there.
So it's lovely.
Some nice texture work in there. And so we're going to be giving away this beautiful numbered and framed print. So make sure you get that. Sonia, what's your favorite Balloon
My
Fiesta
favorite is the
poster?
1980. I love, there's like a little guy just blowing up balloons. They're all blue. It's just really cool. It's cute. I really
It's
like
a very
that one.
nostalgic one. And we have
Yeah.
each poster will be showing here on the screen if you're watching us online. So you can see what they look like. Until this one came in, my favorite one has the balloons that are shaped as planets because obviously that was space, and the space shuttle was huge
Oh, yeah.
That's
that
right,
year.
yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and of course,
And we have a lot of them. So when you come in for your buyer consult, you can see all of them.
Yep.
well, and that's
They're all here,
definitely what
folks.
we want to make clear is that if you've ever been into our office, you know that our walls are completely covered with every single. That's why we have this lovely poster, because Tego every year gets the new one,
Yep.
frames it, and puts it up on the wall. And so if you ever want to take a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, come in and walk through our office and see literally every single Balloon Fiesta poster on display, feel free to. We are at 1119 Alameda. And anybody have anything to wrap it up? Because I think it's been a pretty great episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So everybody getting excited for Balloon Fiesta. We're less than a week away. So until next week when Tracy and Tego are back, this has been Albuquerque Real Estate Talk, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, folks.